Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is getting over extreme verbal abuse. I'm on my way home from doing some doctoring in my old hometown that I used to live in for 4 years ago, and I just got gas at the same gas station that I last went to 16 years ago when I made the decision to leave my verbally abusive wife. We left home on a Saturday morning. I detail all this in my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man, the 3-step system, available on the ahappierman.com website. But the short story is, we left home on a Saturday morning to go on this family trip to see some other family. And we were heading up north in our van. She was just relentlessly giving me a hard time on the drive regarding the gas situation in the van. And it was, short story is, I couldn't stop exactly where she wanted me to stop for gas because of the traffic and the danger, and I stopped at the next gas station, which is where I just was. And for the 10 miles where she was berating me like she had been berating me hundreds of times before, and the kids were in the back seat, and it was just relentless. And I stopped for gas. I gassed up the van, and in those days I don't think I had a credit card. I think I went in, and I was kind of thinking that, well, now that's over. We have gas to go get up to the venue, and she'll relax, can maybe forget about what she just did, and we can have a pleasant weekend. But that isn't what happened. She just would not relent. This particular gas station was like a couple of miles off the interstate, so in that little gap between the gas station and the interstate, instead of turning right to get on the interstate and go to the vacation venue, I turned left to go back home. And she was so enraged and so screaming and shouting and swearing, and just a horrible situation in front of the little children, our little children in the back seat, that she didn't notice I was driving to our home. And I finally got there, and she finally noticed, right in amongst her rage. Jumped out of the van, went to the house, and I grabbed, I guess, a couple of things from the house, put them in my car. I had an old beater car. Said goodbye, sorry to the kids, and I left. And that was it. Horrible, traumatic episode that happened 16 years ago, and I can remember it was like it was yesterday. I can remember it like it just happened 10 minutes ago. And that's what I'm getting at. You're never going to get over the trauma. If you were on the receiving end of extreme verbal abuse, you're never going to get over it. You only can hope to survive it and start stacking good things in your life so you don't have to dwell on it. So I don't dwell on it that much. I do from time to time. From time to time I do in my worst moments. But I'm intent on creating this happier man life for myself, and I've truthfully had a couple of great years recently, and great times. But I still have this stuff that happened to me that I have to process, and I just don't think you as a man are going to fully get over it, right? You can't get over bad things. You can only try to create good things and try to crowd out the memory of the bad as best you can. There's no forgiving and forgetting that. I just don't think that's certainly you shouldn't forgive, and certainly you can't forget. I don't know, you'd have to really drink a lot, I guess, to forget. I don't ever see myself drinking that much to forget what happened. I would just suggest you keep moving forward with adding good things to your life. And yeah, you had a bad thing. You had extreme verbal abuse, enough for you to listen to videos like this, enough for you to think about buying my book as a strategy to help you leave. You would want to spend time reflecting on what's going on in your life. The verbal abuse is ruining your life. The longer you stay, the harder your life is ruined, the worse it becomes. Think of it this way: if she starts screaming and yelling today and you leave tomorrow, that is going to be a lot easier to get over than you putting up with screaming and yelling on a weekly basis for years on end. And if you continue to stay with her for the rest of your life is it's not a life, right? It just isn't a life. And I'd suggest you try to find a way to get out, but I know it isn't easy. I don't know what your situation is, other than I know you're being verbally abused. I know that for a fact by you watching this, and I think a lot of some guys are not going to put up with this verbal abuse, and they're going to snap and they're going to do something harmful to her. So don't do that. Get away from her before you do that. I have other videos on how to think of it if you have kids, how to think of it if you have a family, maybe some financial things. The short story on all of that is your relationship with your kids is going to be totally different. Your relationship with family is going to be totally different, with friends, and your finances are probably going to get destroyed. But you can rebuild. I've rebuilt my finances. My relationship with my kids is better and stronger than ever. My relationship with other people is better and stronger than ever, and my life is better than ever. Better than when I was at my peak. There was a certain time in my young man life where I was what I consider at my peak, but now is better. It's sweeter. I'm happier. I have consistent happiness, consistent contentment, and fun and adventure. And that life can be yours. You can't have a happier man life, even if you've been suffering with this extreme verbally abusive wife. You can. It's possible. You just have to make the decision to leave and see what happens, where the chips fall where they may, right? You don't know exactly where the chips fall. You could leave a verbally abusive wife. She can totally poison your children to the point where you'll never see them again for the rest of your life. She can poison your mind, where you end up getting a heart attack or cancer at a young age and dying. She can find a way to ruin you financially so you never recover. this kind of stuff happens to men, and so you can't go into this lightly. But I would say that in my case, my persistent effort toward making a good life for myself, I have succeeded. And I hope and pray that if you make the decision like I did, that you can have some of the stuff that I had. And I hope and I pray that you don't have to face that extreme verbal abuse. The extreme verbal abuse, yeah, I guess in the short, in my case, that was so bad that I didn't care about money. I didn't really care about what happened to the kids because I couldn't survive what was happening myself, right? I didn't care about the relationship with family or work or friends or the community or whatever, right? I was just trying to survive, and in the end, I thought I mattered, and I did it, and I left, and going back to the gas station triggered that memory. And truthfully, I don't like to talk about this stuff that much, other than to try to help you and to try to help me process what happened to me. And one more thing about all this. The verbal abuser, it isn't really about her being the doler outer. There's some reason that she is. What I'm trying to get at is what are you going to do about it? The evidence would show that you are not going to convince her to be nice. So what you would only be able to control what you can control. So what that would be you leaving and trying to start over and have a good life for yourself, or you staying and continuing to do what you have been doing. Those are really the two major. I'm not going to think about the other more drastic measures. I don't suggest anything more drastic. My suggestion is stay and deal and suffer, or leave and try to make a good life for yourself. So give those extremely difficult ideas some thought. All for now.